Hey, what's up everybody? Pastor Matt here on this snowy day. Hope you are enjoying the weather. If you live anywhere in the Northeast, we're in the midst of some incredible polar Arctic vortex thing, and I thought I'd bring you outside so you could maybe see a little bit of the trees. The trees are so pretty, snow delicately laying upon the branches. Anyway, I wanted to share something with you this afternoon about wasting our lives. I woke up this morning and I did what I always do, get my kids up, get my first cup of coffee, my second cup of coffee, read my 3 chapters of scripture, take some notes, and then I made a mistake this morning in opening up the old Twitter machine, and I was frustrated, maybe beyond normal with looking at Twitter, because guess what was happening? Once again, Christians are beefing with one another on Twitter, going back and forth, sniping and snipping, complaining and gripping, dripping and sneezling and snozzling with all kinds of offense against one another. You're probably aware of some of the dialogue that's happening on Twitter. There's 2 big controversies happening right now. One of them is basically between Beth and John MacArthur on complementarianism and egalitarianism and the role of women preachers, if there is such a role biblically. Personally, I'm a ardently convinced complementarian, and so I'm on the side of MacArthur on this particular issue. But I have to admit that the whole drivel, the whole snozzle, the whole sniping and snipping about this thing is really a bit irritating, seeing Christians wasting their time arguing with one another on Twitter. The other one that's happening right now is kind of the whole federal vision thing between Douglas Wilson, James White, and then some other guys on the Reformed NAPARC side. I don't even want to get into the whole names and whatnot of these people, but it astonishes me how much time people apparently spend arguing with other Christians on Twitter. This has to be one of the least useful ways that one could possibly spend his or her life, for the following reasons. Number one, is anybody ever really compelled by these sorts of arguments? Has anybody ever changed their mind based on some quick retort that they received on Twitter? Does anybody actually ever win these arguments? Now, again, I have a side on both these arguments. I'm with the NAPARC churches against federal vision. Okay, I'm with MacArthur on complementarianism, but I don't do Twitter beef, although I do have a Twitter account. You'll never see me arguing or bantering with other people because I just don't find it to be a productive use of my time. There are hundreds of things that I could be doing that would be more productive than arguing with another Christian on Twitter. Besides the obvious fact that it looks unbecoming to the unbelieving world, that we can hardly get along with one another on a variety of range of topics. My biggest problem with arguing on Twitter, though, has to do with the fact that it would seem to be a waste of my one and only life. You and I, look man, we only get one run at this thing called life. We only get one chance to make a difference. And I can almost tell you for a fact that nobody's life is going to be substantially changed by some thread on Twitter. Now, maybe somebody will get linked to an article or a book that may be helpful in the long run, but by and large, these arguments on Twitter are a massive and voluminous waste of your time. You could do almost anything and be more productive than argue with another Christian on Twitter or Facebook. Let me give you a bunch of things that you could do, and I'm just going to make this up off the top of my head, that would be more productive than arguing with another Christian on Twitter about complementarianism or federal vision or whatever else you are in the right about. And you're probably in the right. I get that. And they're wrong. That's fine too. Number 1, go kiss your wife. Number 2, go hug your children. Number 3, write somebody a thank you card. Number 4, call a veteran on the phone and tell them thank you for their service. Number 5, call your dad or your grandparents and tell them how much they mean to you. And number 6, take some notes in your wide margin Bible. Number 7, finish up that chapter that you've been meaning to write for a long time. Number 8, or whatever number we're on right now, resume that hobby that you used to love, whether it's photography or painting or poetry. Um, the list can go on, and virtually everything I just rattled off is going to be more productive than arguing with another Christian believer on Twitter or Facebook. We only have one life, and the whole point of this life is that we would make the most of it, that we would glorify God and enjoy Him forever, Westminster Shorter Catechism number 1, and that we would love others as we love ourselves. And of course, we're going to do that in real relationships, not artificially constructed relationships, not with the relationships that we have virtually through Twitter follows and retweets and all that. Cross the street and go talk to your neighbor. Bake a batch of cookies and give them to a widow. Again, on and on we could go with things that will be more valuable to you than arguing on social media. How about this? How about we put the phone down after this video and we just spend some quiet time in prayer and maybe pray for the people with whom we disagree. And who knows, that might be a far more productive use of our God-given time. All right, well, thanks for checking in. Sorry I had to go on a little bit of a rant there. Just a little bit frustrating to see Christians beefing constantly. And I'm looking for a peaceful night tonight amongst my own congregation at Gospel Fellowship as we continue our study on the great doctrines of the Christian faith. So that's what I'll be doing tonight. I hope you do likewise. Love you lots. Talk to you soon.